Hello class, in the last video we looked at dilating points, and today we're going to be looking at dilating shapes, which is essentially the same thing, but instead of one point we have a collection of points such as L and M. But essentially it's the same idea, same process. So let's start. Find the dilated coordinates with the given center and the scale factor k. Also draw the dilated image. Oh, I also forgot to mention, I included a link to this worksheet that I'll be going over in the description below that you can download and follow along with me. So our center is going to be at 4, 2, and our scale factor is going to be at 0.5 or 1/2. So I think a great place to start with this is just to identify our center. So if our center is at 4, 2, just going to go 4 over, 2 up. And there we have our center. Now, let's pick points and see how far away they are from our center. I think a good point to start at would be point N, because it shares the same vertical line as our center. So that one would be a little bit more straightforward than L and M. But let's look at how far away is N from our center. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because we went down 6, that's going to be -6 units in the vertical direction away from our center. Well, -6 multiplied by our scale factor 1/2 will give us -3. So our n prime value is going to be -3 away in the vertical direction from our center of dilation. So -1, -2, -3. And we can call that n prime. Now, looking at point L, we can see, well, that's going to be -1, -2, -3, -4, -4 away in the horizontal direction, but we're going 1, 2, +2 in the vertical direction to get from our center to point L. Well, -4 times our scale factor, 1/2, is just going to give us -2. So -1, -2. And then 2 multiplied by our scale factor, 1/2, is just going to be 1. So we want to make sure we go -2 in the horizontal direction and +1 in the vertical direction from our center. So -1, -2, +1. And we will call that L prime. And then for point M, it's a similar idea. We see that from our center to point M, we're going to go +1, +2, +3, +4. We're going to go +4 in the horizontal direction. And then we're going to go 1, 2, +2 in the vertical direction from our center to point M. Well, 4 times our scale factor, 1/2, will just give us 2. 2 times our scale factor, 1/2, will just give us 1. So we want to make sure that we go 2 over in the horizontal direction, and then +1 as well in the vertical direction to give us our point M. So we're going to go 1, 2, and then +1. And that will give us our point M prime. Now we just need to connect the dots. And there we have our dilated image. And for the last part, now we just have to look at the coordinates where they lay. So our L is going to be at 1, 2, 2, 3. Our M prime is going to be at, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 3, 6 across, 3 up. And then our n prime value is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 across, 1 down, 4, -1. So looking at this second example, this one's going to be a little bit different. In this case, we're given our preimage, it undergoes a dilation and gives us our image, and we're just trying to find the scale factor in this case. So figure A is a dilated image of figure B. Find the scale factor. So figure B represents the preimage, A represents the image. So one way we could start out by doing this is to give each vertice a name. That way we just have a reference that we can use. So A and B are already used, so I'm just going to give this C, point D, point E, point F, point G, and point H. So this would be C prime, D prime, E prime, F prime, G prime, and H prime. And the most straightforward way to tackle this problem is to look for either a horizontal or vertical line, because calculating the length of that is much more straightforward than if it is a diagonal line. So for example, we can see that line segment GH has a length of 1, 2. Just a length of 2. Just 1, 2. Now if we look at the length of line segment G prime to H prime, we can see that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to give us a length of 6. Well, 2 times our scale factor, k, is going to give us 6. We're just going to divide both sides by 2, and k equals 3. So our scale factor is going to be 3. Now let's say the shape didn't involve any horizontal or vertical lines. The process is still relatively similar. So if we look at line segment CH, we could see that that goes -1 in the horizontal direction, and then +1 in the vertical direction. So C to H, -1, +1. Now if we go from C prime to H prime, we're going to go -1, -2, -3 in the horizontal direction, +1, +2, and then +3 in the vertical direction. Well, -1 times our scale factor 3 is going to give us -3. +1 times our scale factor 3 is going to give us +3. So it works the same. Now we're going to look at this next example. Find the dilated coordinates with the given center and scale factor k. Also draw the dilated image. So our center is at 3, -5, and our scale factor is 6. So pause the video, try it out on your own, see if you can get it yourself, and if not, I'm going to also go over it. So again, it's helpful to start with our center of 3, -5. So 3, -5, we're going to identify that. And our scale factor is 6. Well, let's start by seeing how far away are these points from our center of dilation. Point P is 1 away in the horizontal direction, so -1, because we're going to the left. So -1 times 6 is going to give us -6, which should be our point of P prime. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. P prime. Q, on the other hand, is +1 units away from our center of dilation in the horizontal direction, 0 in the vertical. So we're just going to go +6 points to get our Q prime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Now if we look at our point S, we're going to go -1 in the horizontal direction, and then +2 in the vertical direction. So -1 times 6 will also be -6, which will bring us to point P prime. And then +2 times 6 will give us 12. So we want to be up 12 units from our point P prime. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And that will be S prime. Now for R prime, we're going +1 units in the horizontal direction. That brings us to Q. But then if we go +2 units from Q, that brings us to R. Positive 1 times 6 will just give us positive 6, bringing us again to Q prime. And then positive 2 times 6 is going to be positive 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Giving us our point R prime. Now that we have all the points, we can just connect the dots. And there we have our image. Now we just have to fill in what the points are. So point P is going to be at -3, -5. Q is going to be at 9, -5. I'm sorry, P prime, Q prime. R prime is going to be at 9, 7. And then S prime is going to be at -3, 7. Alright, so looking at this next example, this time we're given a pre-image and an image, and now we just have to identify the scale factor. So figure A is a dilated image of figure B. Find the scale factor. So we know that figure B is the pre-image and figure A is the image. So again, I like to start just naming the vertices so we have a point of reference to use. And since letters A and B have been used, I'm going to call this C, D, and E. And then C prime, D prime, and E prime. And again, you could use any letters you want, X, Y, Z, doesn't matter. These are just what I'm using. So again, I like to pick a point. The most straightforward way to do this is to find a line segment that is either horizontal or vertical, because that's just finding the length of it is much more straightforward. So the length of line segment CD is going to be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now looking at C prime to D prime, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. A length of 12. Well, to identify our scale factor, we take our image, pre-image, multiply it by the scale factor, and that should give us our image. So the length of our pre-image is 16, multiplying by our scale factor k should equal 12. Divide both sides by 16, and we get k is equal to 3/4. So our scale factor is 3/4. Now again, what if we didn't have a directly horizontal line? Well, another way we could do it is let's look at C to E. And this is also just a great way to check your work to make sure you did it correctly. So to get from C to E, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 units in the vertical direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 units in the horizontal direction. Now to get from C prime to E prime, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 units in the vertical direction. They get, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units in the horizontal direction. Well, 12 times 3/4 gives us 9. 8 times 3/4 gives us 6. So that's another indication, or just another way that we could check our work. It's another indication that we're probably on the right track here.